MMA, mixed martial arts. The history of the world's fastest growing sport dates back to the end of the 16th century in Japan.
Jiu-jitsu at that time was an accessory art of the samurai. The samurai's priority is to master armed combat.
3 centuries later, Jigoro Kano stands out as a master in the modernization of this art and in its dissemination.
In the following decade, the 1890s, he was challenged by a jiu-jitsu fighter named Mataiman Tanabe, who was from a school that developed a lot of ground submission fighting.
In 1914, after years of fighting on the main stages of the planet, Maeda decided to settle in Belém do Pará.
Count Koma starts here in Belém, offering a 5,000 franc prize to any fighter who could beat him.
My father was delighted. How could that man, who was only 1.64 meters tall and weighing a mere 70 kilos, make such an impressive display of strength and competence?
Brazil was the only place in the world where there was a family with the power to say no to the world establishment of the sport that had plans to become an Olympic sport. They suffered all kinds of pressure.
The longest-lasting vale tudo match in the history of the fight world.
Maracanazinho had never had so many people for a match. Spectators rolled over each other.
What is a dynasty? It's the transmission of knowledge from one generation to the next.
Rolls Gracie was an innovator. He had the ability to see the beauty of other arts. He was the guy who changed jiu-jitsu. After him, jiu-jitsu was heightened to new levels.
It was just the lack of this type of matches that caused it to be sidelined. But it has always been present among practitioners and always maintained the core of efficiency as a martial art.
The important thing was how to combine the timing. Know the right time to take the guy to the ground or to keep the fight standing.
The vale tudo view did not exist at that time. In 1984, the first event to boost the return of vale tudo took place.
Mr. Helio Gracie came over to me and said, "Hey kid, what are you doing here?" I said to Mr. Helio Gracie that I was there to beat up his son.
And soon you'll enjoy 3 top fights here on Globo. It's the so-called Grande Desafio, Jiu-Jitsu on one side and luta livre on the other. Who will win?
A confrontation. The biggest battle in the world. Headbutts, lots of punches, savagery. You know, I think it was one of the most barbaric fights in the sport's history.
These 2 events were essential to promote jiu-jitsu. These victories really proved the greatness of jiu-jitsu. They really made jiu-jitsu rocket sky high.
Rorion's courage is incredible. He challenges the whole country.
Because all summer long I kept saying, Rorion, who are we getting? Is it Hickson? He said, no. Wait, Arturo, just wait.
As my father used to say, don't smash your opponents. Try to win without being rough on them. Win using the technique, plain and simple.
The Japanese have been waiting for this since the beginning of the year. It's like the final match of a football championship. The fans wear jerseys with their idols' names.
I was 13 years old back then, and it was one of the first times in my life, as far as I can remember, that I felt just like anyone else.
After this mess, this failure that Pentagon Combat turned out to be, a new sport is born.
I could ever imagine then, 12,000 people to come watch a grappling event. That's pretty crazy.
I believe this story has to be told, and it has to be preserved. Let's put it this way, because things are forgotten and history is lost.